Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I would like to welcome you to the show among shows, the theme among things, the guys, the good guys amongst the guys. It's What's Good America. No disrespect to my co-host, it's my right-hand man. I want to talk about Larry Smoother down there at the bottom, our NCAA guest himself, the man is inspiration because he balances the ignorance and the education, and I love it. First of all, he's the inspiration to everything that I'm trying to do. Right now, like my ignorance is like way up there, but like I went to school for like a little bit and graduated, but like the ignorance goes up as soon as the education goes up. I'm trying to get like Bays where you could balance the ignorance and the education. Well, like I was saying, you got Mr. Larry Smoother himself, the pull-up fitness guy himself. But my right-hand man on my left-hand side, still my left-hand man on my right-hand side, Mr. Six, period. Mr. Touchdown. Mr. I invented the end zone dance in arena football. Quote me on that. James Big Game Madison Walton the third. What's going on, baby?
Hey, what's good, America? Listen, we getting some momentum. You're starting to see different shirts. You're starting to see our greatest correspondents. Want to shout out Dallas Leslie again for the next episode you're going to see. Did a phenomenal job. We love you, Dal. And then you guys know this is a cornerstone, man. Like this dude is basically, you know what I'm saying, like he's Marcellus Wiley, rolled in with LeVar Arrington, rolled in with Marcus Spears, rolled in with Damian Woody. He ain't got no Dan Orlovsky in him because his voice is way too deep to be that. But this guy is just that cornerstone part of this, man. And you know how I feel about Larry Smoother, you know what I'm saying? I mean, between Chocolate Pudding and Larry Smoother and Darrell Huntington, I don't know of any more greater. I mean, that if there wasn't an R&B band in the 90s that we couldn't have came up with, we'd have been brothers for love. I don't know, man. Oh man, bro. But we got Bays here, man, and you know, usually when Bays comes on, man, he's always got a thing or two he wants to talk about that's actually, you know, legit, and he can kind of cover our tracks. Just a couple of things he threw at us, some things we missed in some news cycles, man. So do what you do best when you're on this show, man. You lead us in with whatever's in your heart first, dude.
What's good, America? What's going on? Your boy is back.
Oh God. So go ahead, big dog.
So Bays, you brought something to my attention, and you know what?
Yeah.
It's one of those things you kind of see and you don't. But usually when we kind of in our little chain the three of us have, it kind of piggybacks on some things we had talked about with Dallas. Dallas, obviously, he wanted to talk about Urban Meyer, and we spent a good deal talking about that. And Dallas really took it to a place where Chris and I were pleasantly surprised that he took it the way he took it. And I think you are kind of extending it in this way. We're going to talk about Doug McDermott. We're going to talk about Greg Marshall a little bit on this show. It's been something that's been on Bays' mind for a while, obviously being an integral part of the NCAA and that he is. And obviously, Chris and I had a chance to look at those comments, see a couple things about Greg Marshall. But Bays, man, I'm going to let you take it, man, and just how you're really feeling with what's going on down there in Creighton.
Yeah, so recently, Greg McDermott, Dougie McBucket's father, the head coach.
Yeah, did I say Doug McDermott? I meant Greg McDermott. Sorry. Doug McDermott, you still good in my book. First round draft pick by the Bulls. I'm sorry, Doug. Talk about your pops. My bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And so he said some racially insensitive. We're going to put that in quotations. That was the politically correct, and them trying to massage the BS comments he did make about not leaving the plantation of something of that sort. And so in general, I wanted to speak on coaches, in particular white coaches, when they are in charge of leading Black men. in some of the comments or some of the entitlement that they may feel as if that my skill set did not put me in a position to be able to help you provide for your family because you have a position, because we are talented individuals and you are coaching us. And so just kind of wanted to dig into just kind of that mindset. And obviously we've been coached by, a lot of coaches throughout our tenure, white, black. Just wanted to speak on, man, just it's one of those things where it's not uncommon that we have heard certain things. It's just interesting where the media catches wind of some of these things and, kind of their reaction to it, and wanted to dig into that. Wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
If y'all don't mind, allow my ignorance to go first, because me being the Southern one out the group, there's a lot of things as far as this go. Like, this hits close to home to me, but at the same time, I guess I was so I don't want to say used to it, because used to it is just like a terrible way to kind of look at it. But honestly, like, used to it is probably the best way to call it, because from high school to the first college to the second college, like, the term boy is thrown around a lot, especially in the South. And like I said, I was in Tallahassee, I was in Tuscaloosa and all that. So the term boy gets thrown around, and like, it's one of those, oh, well, we don't mean anything by it. Now, granted, in high school, I was coached by one of the greatest Florida coaches of all time, Dan Dish. He went on to coach at University of North Carolina, Southern Miss, and everywhere else. But like, he never used the term because like, he knew the racial undertone that it kind of came with. But like, we had this conversation when Dad was on. Like, Bobby Bowden came in and sat in my living room and like called me a boy about 9 or 10 times. And like, it's just, you don't think they mean anything by it, but it could be like so ingrained into that person where it's just like, all right, I don't think you mean anything by it. And getting to Tuscaloosa, and it's just like, all right, boy, I got you, this, that, and the third, and boy this and boy that. Like, don't get it twisted. Like, my talent got me here. My talent is what's going to keep me here. But like, it's like, without getting too like racially driven about it, it's like, it's ingrained in this sport. It's ingrained in college football. Especially in college football, because you got these big, and most of your teams 90% black. You got these big black guys running around doing pretty much all the work, and not gonna say slave owner, but the head coach is getting all the credit. So it's almost like a slave master, slave owner type like relationship, where I do all the hitting, I do all this, I do all the lifting, and then you get all the credit. You get the $1 million contract, and then if I decide to go get any money on my own, I'm either leaving the program and being shunned for leaving too early, i.e. certain players for the Alabama Crimson Tide, which we're not gonna get into. But it's like, dude, like, I get it. This is ingrained in college football. This is why I'm so glad that Deion Sanders is doing what he's doing to try to change the narrative.
Well, okay. So we've talked about Bobby Bowden on this show.
Yeah.
So Bobby Bowden, and this is it's probably the most, oxymoron thing when it comes to this stuff. Bobby Bowden is like the one guy.
The one.
He's the one guy that gets the pass. Like, it's weird with Bobby Bowden in regards to that. Like, it's because it's Bobby Bowden, and because of Bobby Bowden's history within the black community, especially in Northern Florida. It's known what Bobby Bowden means to the state of Florida and what he's done. And the reason why you have two guys that are basically contemporaries when you're talking about Joe Paterno and Bobby Bowden, and look how one's looked at and how the other one's looked at. And Bobby Bowden, saying, boy, that's in itself. Now, That's just me. Like, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get shit on from one side for that. So it is what it is. But I do know that from the way Deion Sanders, Derek Brooks, Charlie Ward, Peter Ward, you name them, so on, talk about Bobby Bowden and what he means. It goes without saying. Tamarick Vanover, anyway. Only guy I know that hates Bobby Bowden is Lavernius Coles for obvious reasons. So,
Yeah.
so Lavernius Coles,
Yeah.
Lavernius Coles has a legit correct. Shout out Lavernius Coles. Now, in regards to Greg McDermott and the word plantation, see, here's the problem. And I had to think about it. You know, usually when Mike Bazemore comes on, or even with Chris Turner, when I got guys that have, you know, combined 6 degrees between the two of them and I have 0, I got to really think hard sometimes. And you know what it made me think about, guys? Like, legit. Think about when we were in history class, like in high school. Like the way, like, you just kind of read about plantations and all that type of stuff. And it never had any negative connotation to it. It was never looked at as like, hey, this was a bad, like it's ingrained in us as African Americans. Like, we just know, because we all, you know, we have people, you know, we have Chris Turners in our families, that no matter what, you know, you've got people that come from that. So you just kind of know that that's just no good. So when you're in a time like now and you don't really understand that, when you're saying plantation, especially in times like now, what that can mean to somebody. I mean, Baze is 100% right. It's very irresponsible of a guy that's been in the game as long as he's been in the game, to use that, you know. You know, there's different ways to say that, you know what I mean? Like, hey, you know, we need to stick together. Like, hey, we need to stick in, you know, the house is burning, but don't leave the house. You could have said it like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can put this fire out together. Plantation, more than ever. I mean, I'm going to bring this up because I'm looking at it right now. Look what any type of plantation talk, look what it did to The Bachelor. You just can't do it anymore. Chris Harrison lost his show. Right or wrong. And he didn't even say anything. All he said was, let's give her a chance to defend herself. He lost his show. That's crazy. Like, that's where we're at with that. So for this guy to be a leader of all races, it's not even just the black players that he has. It sets a bad example for the white players that he has, or any other people of any races that are on there, to understand that plantation stuff, man. It's no good. And
Can I say this real quick?
Go for it, man.
With it being Creighton University, and we know, for those of you who don't know, Creighton's like in Nebraska, Omaha, I want to say, like in Nebraska somewhere.
What is wrong with you? You played there. It's dead in the center of what were you doing when you were playing for the Beef?
Do you remember who the owner of the Beef was?
Yeah.
That's what I was doing.
Speaking, this is a side profile, but that guy's made some comments recently that have been interesting.
Anyway, to get back to Creighton, like I'm not trying to justify the comment at all. First of all, let me start off with that. I'm not trying to justify the comment, because if this comment was made at Kentucky, it's still just as bad, because Kentucky's team is 95% black. Like, they usually have like 2 white guys on the team who are like shooters, i.e. Tyler Hero, like these, like they're bucket getters. But if you look at Creighton's makeup, like Creighton's usually like half and half, like, or almost lent towards like 60-40 white players to black players. So the comment is almost even more asinine, because like, dude, like, you got a team full of white guys, but you're bringing up the plantation, which I guess that could be his defense. It's like, hey, look at my team. Like, most of them are white. Like, I don't get it, dude. Like, it's with cancel culture the way it is now, whether you did something or you didn't do it, with cancel culture the way it is, and the way you can lose your job, lose your show, lose your livelihood, I don't give a damn if you just got blown out by ITT Tech. You can't say it. Like, you can't.
But it speaks to a certain psychology that you would even think to go there. So he said plantation. He not only said it once, he said it twice. So it speaks to just kind of like what you like.
Stay on your path, babes. I'm with you because I got the quote up, right? Like, think about it. Then I want you to go right back to what you're saying. I need everybody to stay on the plantation. I can't have anybody leave the plantation. First of all, the goal was to get the hell off the plantation.
Like
that in itself, that is like when we start like 15 minutes into this, and like to really think about, that's the quote. Like, we need to stay on the plantation. Word. Now go back to your thought. So go back to your thought. I just wanted to add that into what you were saying because it goes with what. Keep going.
But no, so yeah, it speaks to a certain psychology, a certain ignorance, and shows that either you have not learned anything from the black men that you have recruited and have coached, or you're just being willfully ignorant. And it also speaks to other coaches that may reference where you're from. If you do come from the hood, you do come from down south in a very rural area where it's a lower socioeconomic background, and they say something stupid like, if you don't perform, you'll go back to your hood. You'll go back to that dirt road where you're from.
Yep.
Like, a lot of coaches try to use ignorant things to motivate you, and it's actually just downright disrespectful. And it's one of those things where it just speaks to the psychology that there's a lot of ignorance that still needs to be addressed within the coach profession, and it needs to not only change the way that they speak to men, black men, because it's even more important because the white players, some of the other players of other ethnic backgrounds, they're seeing how you communicate to these men. And so subconsciously, they may think that that's cool because you're the authority figure. And so it's one of those things you get, like, it's unacceptable. They suspended them. I ain't never one that's going to be a proponent of somebody losing I ain't going to say that. In some cases, you do need to lose your job because it's not a right.
Right.
It's a privilege that you
Correct.
are making millions of dollars to coach a kid's game. So if the shoe fits, then hey, man, you put yourself in that predicament and you got to live with those consequences. I'm not saying they don't deserve, a just trial, but at the end of the day, if it comes to you losing your job or you being forced to resign, I mean, that's the bed you got to lay in because you're the one that made the comments. You can't blame nobody but you. And if you're given a fair trial, it is what it is.
I think you're even talking more to, Bays, the true double standards that do go on in sports with that. And it's amazing to me, just kind of listening to you say that, obviously, Chris, with obviously what I'm sure he had to go through down in Alabama, more than Florida State, because, Tallahassee's Tallahassee.
Right.
And like Tallahassee's, without being said, Tallahassee cool like that. Tuscaloosa is not.
No, sir.
Whatsoever. You know what I'm saying?
No, sir.
You know what I'm saying? When I say Tallahassee, those that don't know, like FAMU is down the street. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a legit balance in Tallahassee.
What is it, Ybor City out there?
Ybor City's in Tampa.
That's Tampa. That's Tampa.
I'm getting my.
I'll say this. So you got Florida State. FAMU is an 11-minute walk.
Mm-hmm.
So you try that racist bullshit if you want to. Hey, it's an 11-minute walk, period.
Yeah. Like it's just not happening. And I think it's a double, you're starting to see that more. And I think what it brings me to is the era has finally come, and I think, Bays, you can speak to it a little bit more, obviously, having some insight. But things like even NCAA football coming back to all of us. The era is here. It's here. And what I mean by that is that we have now come to the time where these young men are 100% aware of the commodities that they are now. Like, we knew we were commodities.
We couldn't do anything, though.
We didn't necessarily do anything, because we just status quo'd it and did what we had to do. This is the era where these young men and these young women, like, they're not taking it anymore. And I do respect them for that. I really do. And the fact that this game is back, it's back for one reason and one reason only. They're going to give the players their money off their likeness. Like, that's what's happening. And now if these guys see that, hey, we make the money here, you're going to have to adjust with that. And I give the kudos to the coaches that have never really had to adjust it because they've done the right things by players. Like, there's stalwarts that are still in their positions. When you bring up Kentucky, I give John Calipari a lot of credit.
Oh, hell yes.
Yes. Like, did he break some rules here and there with the NCAA?
A little bit.
Yeah. Look what happened to Massachusetts. And look what happened to Memphis. But he's always been about empowering
Go get your
players. Money. He's always been that. It started with Marcus Camby. Marcus Camby is a start to a lot of things we've seen kind of happen, to what he's basically done in Kentucky, to where he's been able to tell kids. The last one we've really been able to see do it has been Jamal Murray. Like, his 30 for 30 was incredible because it was Jamal Murray's. And for him to look at Jamal Murray and know and go, you got to go. Like, that was amazing to watch that. And I think Devin Booker was the year before him. Tyler Hero's the prime example of that. There was a lot of us, that looked at Tyler Hero and was like, dude, this dude, hey, another year.
Yeah.
And then go. Now, he went and he cashed. And now he's the guy that's, that's in these, so I think Coach Cal gets a lot of credit for that. I think Roy Williams has navigated it very well in college basketball throughout. I think his style changed from how it was at Kansas to once he got to Carolina, like, knowing the pedigree and being there, actually coaching there and playing there, to understand that. Took Coach K a little bit of time to adjust to it. I think he's done a stand-up job, but Coach K's from Chicago, so I don't expect anything less from him. Like, he knows what time it is. Yes, Chris, it always comes back to Chicago. And I think Nick Saban, quiet as kept. I think Nick Saban has always done a decent job with it, outside of the little bit of things that he said a few years ago about his third-round safety. Didn't like that. But I give him credit because he won a title. So, still working. There's coaches that are doing right.
Let me pose this question to you. Are the comments as hurtful, as detrimental, as cancel culture as they are they just as bad if this is a black coach standing to a black player?
That's a whole nother episode, because that gets into a deeper, darker criminal lane.
Yeah, buddy.
Wait, what coach is using this? Is this Samuel Jackson and Django? Like, what is happening?
No, I'm just saying, like, if you had a black coach, like, give this same interview, is it just as bad?
At first, if I was one of his players, I would be taken back, and I'd be like, is coach, like, is he joking? Is he, like, messing with us right now? Because I would expect the coach to be more aware of his position to use that kind of dialect. So I will first be like, is coach, like, serious? But at the same time, knowing that there's not a lot of black men in this kind of position, I would not publicly check him because I want him to keep his job.
So he gets a pass.
He would get a pass from me, in terms not in terms of what he said publicly. I wouldn't say anything. Privately, Privately,
worse.
it is. I would say it's worse.
It's worse.
Privately, I would come at him like, "Yo, like that was some BS. Like what's going on here?" I mean, any coach needs to be checked.
Right.
It's probably worse if a black man.
It's worse. If I came up to if Coach O would have told us, "I need y'all to stay on the plantation," word.
The Billings Outlaws would implode.
Come on, man. That's not
Oh
even.
my
It's not
God.
even. Shout out O, because it's not even in his vocabulary and his vernacular. None of that. But like, there's certain things that we can get the pat. Like, listen, if we're having an N-word conversation, pass. Stay on the plantation. Like, I mean, get out of here, that Django Unchained. You must be crazy.
I just had to ask. I wanted to know.
But Walt is in the same ballpark. Is in the same ballpark.
Yeah, you need to. I put it to you this way: when it comes to that, which is a whole different conversation in itself, which really steers away from the point of the show. Go listen. Go listen to Kendrick Lamar, and listen to the version that's on "To Pimp a Butterfly" of I, where he breaks it down. That really is our word. And Kendrick breaks it down better than anybody I've ever heard do it. Better than the Tribe Called Quest, better than Junk. Like, that's our word. So I probably hear that song every other day on my playlist. So yeah, that's one thing. Stay on the plantation. Like, the more you say it,
it gets worse and worse. Like, dude, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Like,
I need y'all to stay on the plantation. Everything in a black person is to never even be on a plantation in the first place.
Hey, I just want to say, like, as the white players on that team, okay, coach, we'll stay on the plantation, right? No problem.
Yeah,
like,
what
for
are they
the-
doing on a plantation besides having
for
a
the-
ball.
For the 4 black kids who usually play for Creighton year after year, like, man, what the stay?
Well,
Nah, bro.
Creighton has been a transfer, it's been a transfer stop for a lot of kids that have gone to different schools because, to Greg McDermott's credit, the dude's a great coach. Like,
He is.
they get up and down. Like, if you want to shoot threes and get buckets, go to Creighton. Like, that's been their style the last.
If you want to show that you're a good guard, Creighton is one of the best places you can go.
Like, he's sending so many guards over there to Europe. They making euros.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody going to the league from Creighton. You know what I'm saying?
No.
They are playing pro ball everywhere because them guys can get them shots up. So
You're going to get that Latvian money.
here's the bottom line: is we're running out of time here, and I want to get this in. White coaches, get your shit together.
That's good enough for me. Shit, that's the best way to end it.
Hey.
I got nothing.
Right back. We'll be right back with more What's Good America. We coming back to you because we got bays, baby.
I got nothing. Get your shit together.
Get your shit together. For real.